Hello everyone, Vickieverlie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess, and today we're going to talk about the transit of Pluto into the sign of Aquarius. So this is the first time that this has happened since it was in Aquarius before in the 1780s, 1780 through 1800, or 1778 through 1798. It was going in and out, so it was solidly in there for between 1780 and 1800. I want to look at some of the history, but first let me give you the dates of when it's going to be coming in again. So it's going to be March 23rd of 23, 32323. Look at that date. I love that date. And that's when Pluto's going to first dip its toe into Aquarius again for the first time in, a couple hundred years here. And then it's going to go retrograde, go back into Capricorn. It's going to go back into Capricorn in June, I believe. I didn't write it on here. Yeah, June 11th or 12th in some places. It's going to be retrograde and go back, and then it's going to come back in January 21st of 2024, and it'll stay solidly, it was going to Capricorn, it'll stay solidly in there until January of 2044. So it'll be in Aquarius for 20 years solid starting in 2024. So as I'm making this video in the end of 2022, we're just coming up on the first time when it dips its toe in. Often, though, when a big planet like Pluto that moves very, very slowly, that takes over 200 years to go around the wheel, often you'll feel it the most when it first goes in, and then when it goes out. And so it won't be going out until 24. So this March 23rd coming up here, as I'm making this video, that's could be very powerful, but it'll be felt all through. Now, because Pluto is so slow moving through our zodiac, it makes things happen slowly. You work into it, and it represents very long-term things that are going on. This is a very long-term cycle. And it does, for many of us, if you believe this, I do, but it can talk about, it's beyond one human lifetime, okay? So this could be incorporating a lot of things from our past life and our soul journey, and karma within our soul journey and karma within our family too. So there's a lot going on. Pluto is, the god of the underworld. It is death and rebirth. It brings about change. It changes the old and makes way for the new as it transits through each sign. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the planets. Pluto, I do the Pluto symbol like this. It's a P. I hope you can see it. But it's also like a little, almost like a Mercury symbol, and it's going to be going in to the sign of Aquarius with just this. Look at the sign of Aquarius. Look at the symbol for the sign of Aquarius, the glyph. I can draw it a little neater. It looks like lightning bolts. It looks like electricity, and it's ruled by the planet Uranus, and the planet Uranus wants freedom. So wherever things move into Aquarius, those are the things that we're talking about, and you can see this as we look at some of the history here. Basically, it was the late 1700s the last time that we had Pluto in Aquarius, and of course that was the time of the American Revolution. Was ending, actually. It ended in 1783. It started in 1775, a little before Pluto, so some of the turmoil started a little ahead of time. And then the French Revolution and the storming of the Bastille was also going on. Some other things that I looked up that were happening as far as just history in those times were there was cities of life day, cities of life day, and this is where 300 European cities came to abolish the death penalty, and I thought that was really great. That's definitely because it's also Uranus, Aquarius. This is all about the 11th house, and this is our fellow man and doing well by our fellow man in this 11th house here. So that was going on. The Quakers petitioned the U.S. government to abolish slavery. The Quakers were the first ones to stand up against slavery because that's also an Aquarian thing, a Uranian thing. We want our freedom. The U.S. was expanding into new states. There was lots of new settlements going on. This was interesting to me that there was the first U.S. mint opened during that time frame. So that ties into the money, which really isn't that much the realm of Uranus. But in this case, it could be, again, there could be some money things going on because the planet Uranus at this time is transiting Taurus, which rules the second house of money and possession. So there could be something like that happening again. I mean, we're seeing the cryptocurrency, so it could just be a trend like that. Often with the planet Uranus and the sign of Aquarius, things are going to be happening all of a sudden. They're going to happen suddenly, and they're going to be even shocking or surprising in some cases. That can be the case. And then another thing that happened at that time, the first state university opened in North Carolina. So bringing education to the masses, bringing education to all, so it would be affordable to all. Some scientific and other discoveries, because Uranus also rules invention. So we can certainly expect a lot of inventions. Things that were going on at that time, back in the late 1700s, cholesterol was discovered. Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, so that was going to innovate, the cotton, harvesting of the cotton. Ben Franklin invented bifocals. And coal gas was used for illumination, so it's a new power source. So I definitely feel like we could see some of that happening as well. Some new power sources that are going to be discovered and utilized. We do have, we have already are aware of solar and wind, but there could be even some more different ones. And when I said wind out loud, Aquarius being an air sign, this could have to do maybe more with wind and air. Some artistic things that happened was Mozart was alive, releasing, music and doing his operas and everything. And if you know anything about the history of Mozart, we know that he was a genius and very brilliant and a prodigy. And that's another thing that is ruled by the Uranus Aquarius energy, is these brilliant things. And the Louvre in Paris opened as well. Napoleon, now, because we were dealing with Pluto and there's this tearing down and redoing, to death and rebirth, Napoleon was going through and wrecking all the Egyptian statues, including the Sphinx, and destroying one-of-the-kind historic documents. So that was some things that were not cool. This is something that really got my attention, because it said there was the Second Great Awakening. And I didn't even know, I came up with that Great Awakening leading into 2020. If you go back and watch my 2020 year ahead Dictiomassy, I was getting a download of the Great Awakening. And then, of course, the whole thing with COVID, many people also were calling it the Great Awakening. And I never knew throughout history that there was anything else ever called the Great Awakening. I don't remember ever studying that. But apparently there was. And in that time frame, there was the Second Great Awakening. Yeah, so the Second Great Awakening, it has to do with these Protestant preachers and these revivals, and it's actually a religious thing, which was very surprising to me. But when I saw Second Great Awakening, it was like, big time, a ping on my psychic senses. So there could be some other, I don't know that it would be another COVID, but it seems like there could be something, history repeating itself, cycles repeating itself. Here's one more thing that I wrote down. Oh, Uranus itself, the ruling planet of all this, was discovered at that time. Sir William Herschel discovered Uranus, the true ruler of Aquarius. So yeah, there was definitely some interesting scientific things going on. Okay, in this portion I want to take a look at some of the things, the overall themes that will be affecting everybody before we break it down sign by sign. Okay, so Pluto and Aquarius, the Aquarius is the people that we belong to. It's the raising of humanity. It's the brotherhood of man. It's our groups, our organizations. Uranus is discovery, moving into the future, science, space age. So there could absolutely be a lot of changes and leaps forward, into dealing with these kinds of areas. Again, because Pluto is such a long cycle and longer than one human lifetime, there is this karmic thing coming up. And there is these karmic cycles, and there are these past life and karmic things involved for many of us. I believe many people, especially who are living in the United States right now, I believe that we were there at that other time. We were there during the revolution. And you might not be in the same point of view that you are right now. You may have even been a slave owner, or you may, you could be very different from who you are now, because we're meant to experience things and from a full spectrum, from all points of view. But there is definitely some karma that is coming up, and it is in our soul lineage, but it's also in our family, because again, spanning more than one lifetime, then you go generational. So these are generational things that could be coming to the fold and being discovered, displayed. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and at death and rebirth, it digs down deep into the underbelly and into the dark areas. So there could be revealing of more dark areas, which has already kind of been happening, because we know that there's people who have certain beliefs, but they may have kept them quiet. but we're noticing now that these things are being, dug out. It's hard. You can't hide anymore with the technology. It's so much harder to hide. We joke about, like, when I was young, we'd go out and party, and when we were kids, and we did crazy things, and nobody even had a camera usually, so there's no record of it. But now every single thing you do is scrutinized, it's put out there into the public. But on the higher source of it, it is the brotherhood of man. It is lifting us up to our highest potential. It is potentially, making us galactic citizens. That could very well happen on a large scale during this time frame. I mean, it's already happening. Some people might be tuning out right now, but you can still watch your sign, your zodiac sign. You can skip ahead if you think that's too far out. But nothing's going to be too far out, I would say, with Pluto going into Aquarius here. There's nothing that's going to be. Prepare to have your mind blown. That could be the whole the catchphrase for Pluto and Aquarius. Prepare to uncover things and reveal things through this death and rebirth that were prior hidden, and prepare to ascend. I mean, really, this is the ascension. This is waking up. This is the people waking up en masse. With the advent of the internet and the technology, also part of the Uranian vibration, we're in contact. I've talked about this often in, the individual readings, but, before, especially if someone like me who was brought up in a blue-collar town and you're having these psychic and spiritual or even ET experiences, and then you go to try to talk to your peers, because this is your peers, and they're like, oh, they're giving you the stink eye, the funny looks, and oh, maybe she's a little nutty, maybe they're in even past life memories, or maybe you're going to get locked up, and things like that. And so you learn just through societal, interaction, like, oh, that didn't go over well, so maybe I won't talk about that again. Maybe I'm not only won't I talk about that again, maybe I'll just shut that down, and I'll try to fit in and be normal with the group. Well, all bets are off now. All bets are off with Pluto coming through the Aquarian energy. It's time to let our freak flags fly. And isn't that what makes, life interesting and diversity? And I've said this before too, everybody, well, when's disclosure? We want to meet the aliens. We want to do all this stuff. Well, if we can't even accept people of our own race, the human race, who are different, how are we going to expand and accept completely alien races? And again, if you don't believe in that, you can just skip ahead on that. I did write down a couple notes. Yeah, it's a realization of our soul's path. And the universe could really be throwing us some curveballs here. Because Pluto doesn't play, okay? Pluto will throw you talk about curveballs. Pluto's throwing lightning bolts. Pluto's throwing towers. Pluto's throwing death and rebirth. Pluto's not subtle. Subtlety is not one of Pluto's forte. I mean, it can be, but more so, it's just like, this is it, in your face. But then you can be free of it, because that's the other big energy of the Uranian stuff, is we want to be free. We want to be gone with this. We don't want to be attached to this anymore. We want to go into the future. This could be an incredible, life-changing paradigms the guides are coming through with. An incredible time of growth, invention, of all sorts of things that we never even dreamed of, as far as like technology and things of this nature. Medical breakthroughs that's coming through. It's all going to be part of the technology. If you think that the technology has been speeding up, since like the late 90s, since personal computers, I think that, it's going to be like, eat my dust. This time frame is going to see the most, huge advancements that are life-changing, change our whole life paradigm, change our whole everyday. I mean, look back to like even the 70s or 80s, Would you ever dream that you could have, a little computer? Our cell phones, we carry around this little computer with access. It would be mind-boggling. But that could happen in this time frame, those kind of big leaps, where we would be mind-boggled. Our current 2022 or 2023 selves could be looking for and be just like blown away. I think it could happen, and it's a 20-year span. I think so much could be happening in that arena. It's just going to be, I really feel breathtaking. Those are the words that are coming to mind. And I do feel, even though that really Virgo might be more medically oriented, I am picking that up, that there's going to be great breakthroughs in the medical community. Okay, in this portion of the reading, we're going to be looking at house by house or sign by sign, but really it's house by house. So I would strongly recommend that you watch your rising sign for this portion of the thing. You may get a message or some useful information from the other parts of it, but really this is going to be based on the astrology wheel and your rising sign. So we're going to start with the Aries rising, and Uranus is going to be in your 11th house. So it's very much everything that we talked about. You more than anybody, the groups you belong to, the friends and associates, this could really go through some huge changes because the Uranian energy brings awareness. And, Aries, you're not usually one to sit around pondering life too much, unless you've got some Pisces in your chart. I mean, not all Aries, but you're a goer, you're a doer, you're a go-getter. And there could be some major aha moments about who you've been associating with. And there could be some major changes in who you are, who you want to associate with going forward. This is also the house of wishes coming true, or monies from the career and things like this. So some of you can just completely change your whole lifestyle, and therefore that would bring about these new people. The guides are coming through with these new and interesting people, so that could be a bonus for you. It feels like you're the knight going into the battle. Like some of you may be like really defending the cause. You maybe get behind a cause or a charity or something like that, and you're just rushing right in, using the good traits that you have of that initiative and that Aries energy, and being that warrior spirit, and fighting, having something a cause to fight for, because Aries loves a cause to fight for. You may find this, and it could be even part of your soul's mission or your soul's journey. It could be that deep. Okay, let's go next to Taurus. So Taurus, this is going to be hitting up in your 10th house, which rules career, standing in life, things that you are getting recognition for, getting noticed. So this all could come in strange and unusual ways. For some of you, I'm feeling like you're putting out these different things, and you're really hoping on one to be, or maybe you're just putting out a bunch of resumes because you're looking for jobs, and you're really, it would be the one that you just say, well, what the hell? Why not give it a try? It'd be something like so far out of left field that maybe you had a sort of an interest in, but it's not what you've been doing so far, and it's not the one that you would think that you would get. And lo and behold, it can just come to you. So don't be afraid to take that shot or take that risk, even if on paper it looks like you would never get it, or that you don't have enough experience. What harm is there in just throwing your hat into the ring? The worst that could happen is you don't get it. So you're still where you're at. But there could be some really exciting shifts and changes. For some of you, because it is the death and birth, there could be some things, maybe the company you work for may close or relocate, and it could be an unexpected shift in your 10th house of career and where you're going life. But know that this is the universe's way of intervening, and that you are being led into the direction that is really meant to you. You may have some big, going over your long-term goals, just rethinking your whole life's path. Even if some outside force doesn't happen, this could just be something that's prompted to the universe. Are you really happy in your career? Is it giving you fulfillment? Or is it just about money? Because sometimes Taurus, you can just go for the money. I mean, we all do that, but Taurus particularly, you can be like that. So is it fulfilling? Does it call to your soul? Or even if it doesn't really call to your soul, because not always our life purpose and how we make money are not always the same thing. That's not always the case. But is what you're doing is it something that you can be proud of? Let's just put it that way. That is not a complete antithesis of your life's goal. That's dragging you down from being who you really want to be. Are you just in it for the money and not really doing it for the joy, the spiritual? Are you right with the universe in what you're doing? Or are you, doing harm in some way? Is the company you work for, are they polluting the earth or doing, testing chemicals or, different things? These are the things you may be considering, and you may want to be making some kind of a big change. Okay, so next we're going to look at Gemini. So the Gemini over here, this is going to be in your 9th house. I did make some notes over here. Let me take a look at. Yeah, so expanding consciousness. I mean, you could really be, some of you, I'm hearing somebody wants to go off and study with, some Buddhists or doing some meditation. these are all very much things, it's not going to be for everybody, but you may have this urge. I mean, Geminis, you're very curious anyway. You're a very curious sign. You're very mental. And the Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So it's a higher octave of your sign. It's the, in the ninth house. You're the third house and then the ninth. So it's taking it a step further. It's taking all the good traits and all the things that you're interested in anyway, and then just taking it up to the next level. So expanding consciousness, perhaps dealing with spirituality, but perhaps just dealing with education. You may want to travel. You may be doing a lot of traveling during this time, or being involved in people that are very different than yourselves, learning about different people, learning about different cultures. Perhaps, studying with, I'm hearing studying with a master for some of you. And that could be a lot of things, because even in art, they study with the master. Or it could be martial arts, it could just be a lot of different things. And of course, it's not going to apply to everybody. But, becoming the apprentice again, really getting into a learning and being willing to, explore new territory mentally and even in the physical world as well. Okay, next we're going to go on to Cancer. So this is going to be in your 8th house. So Pluto in your 8th house is kind of at home, even though it's in the sign of Aquarius, because Pluto rules the 8th house in the flat wheel. And this is the house of death and rebirth. So, you guys will definitely be feeling this. You could be feeling some death and rebirth. Some of you may be coming into inheritance. There could be some kind of a tax thing that you're involved in, or something with legal and lawyer, perhaps dealing with some sort of a partnership. Some of you may be getting divorced, and you may be hashing out the final things of that, or even some kind of an estate or something like this. Some of you may be going into business for the first time with a partner, or you and your partner may be starting a business together, or taking out a loan, or doing some kind of financial money thing together. This is also the house of sex too, not necessarily the heart. It's more just the act of the sexual energy. So that should be really revving up in your life at this time, or going through a lot of changes. Some of you, if you've been in a slump, then maybe it's going to start to come back a little. And this is even within marriages and partnerships. Everybody thinks, oh, you get married and you have sex. I mean, some people I suppose do, but most people that I know that are in really long-term relationships, it really ebbs and flows. It's not, there's times when you're not as sexual, and there's times when you're more sexual. So there will be changes in this. Wherever you're at, it could change in the other way. If you've been in a slump, then maybe you're going to be in a more active time, or vice versa. You want to break free, though. That's why I kind of went to the, I usually am very positive. There's always a positive and negative to each expression of everything. And I know I kind of did jump to that negative of a divorce, but that's highly likely. 1 second here. But you're divorcing yourself, maybe not from your marriage partner. Maybe you're divorcing yourself from things that were imposed on you, in a prior relationship, or a friendship, or it could be the end of, because open enemies is the 7th here, so it could be the end of something like that for you too, where you're finally putting somebody out. You're not going to deal. You're not going to give them another chance anymore. We're done. We're done now. Let's sign it. We're done. Yeah, I'm getting that for a lot of people. Something is coming to an end, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing or something that you're not wanting. If you're in a good relationship, I'm sure it's going to continue. I mean, it's not like that. This is something that's like a long festering wound, when you get Pluto involved. And then that Pluto goes down there, oh, here it is, pop. And they pull out that ingrown hair. Here it is, I found it. And then maybe there's some, there's some ugliness that might surround it, but then it heals. And then it gets better. And then you can ascend even further and even higher. Okay, so Leos, this is smack dab in your 7th house. So you're looking at your partnerships. Partnerships are going to go through changes. Could be marriage partnerships, could be best friends. And again, this open enemy, or that's another part of it. If you may experience some difficulty, or somebody who's trying to put power over on you, because a lot of this could be like these power plays. You may set them free. I'm hearing set them free. You're going to set them free and, release it and be gone with it already. Again, because this is a cycle that is more than one human lifetime. This could be your own karmic soul stuff. So something that's been going on for many, many incarnations for you, or even just in your family lineage. You could be breaking free of these patterns from the family lineage that have been repeated over and over and over, going back, to the 1700s or beyond, So it's very powerful. You can be the one to step up and put an end to these patterns, to these patterns. On the positive side, you may find somebody very powerful. A powerful person could really come into your life and offer solutions or help you in some way that you could achieve more freedom, that you could step more into the Aquarian energy, where you could ascend to the next level through this powerful person who comes into your life. Okay, next we're going to look at Virgo. Now this is in your 6th house, which is again kind of interesting, like somebody else earlier, I forget who, but that's your natural place. The 6th house is your natural place. So you're from, the 6th house energy is kind of your energy, no matter what, okay? So it's in your 6th house. This is health and work. This is where Virgo excels. You're detail-oriented, your work, health. The healing, I get so strong with the healing. Many of you may just decide, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to be working on my health. As if Virgos don't work on it enough already, but you would. Maybe you're going to, because it's Aquarius, maybe we're looking at some technology. Maybe you're going to get a Fitbit or a Peloton, or, incorporate some kind of, electronic things into your physical workout kind of energy. Maybe I'm getting somebody out there is going to get some kind of implant, not a pacemaker, but something else along those lines, where there's some technology, maybe even a pacemaker, but I think there's other things too, where there's actual technology implanted right into your body. The bionic woman or bionic man over here, Virgos. And, your work is going to be changing. Many of you may change jobs. But also we got to bring in, you may want your freedom with the Uranian energy. You may just want to go off on your own. But we got to bring in the Uranian technology. Technology will definitely transform your work. You're going to maybe, I'm feeling like big things. Like maybe your company that you work for, they're going to do a whole new computer system and you have to relearn the whole thing. But after all the turmoil of it is over, you're like, oh, it's better. Or even if with these technologies with, of your health, same thing. Maybe turmoil, you might have to go through some surgery or some procedure, but then, oh, yeah, it's better. Some of you are going to get some kind of groundbreaking stuff doing, not bionics, but something else, maybe like, I'm feeling like sometimes they use like pig organs, or, there's going to be some kind of experimental things that some of you are going to participate in health-wise, and it could come out really well. Others, again, it may be more focused on your work life. You may be doing something along those lines. Okay, so next we have Libra, and it's over here in your 5th house of romance, gambling, fun. So, Libras, you're pretty fun and easygoing already, but there could be some major transformations around that. The 5th house is your children. So I'm feeling more, because the Libra is so relationship-oriented, we might be looking at the relationship aspects of this 5th house more. So that's 5th house is the relationship with your children. Some of you are going to be going through big changes, becoming a parent, or maybe empty nesters, or big changes, maybe something going on with the child that's going to be a lot of your focus and thing you're going to have to really spend a lot of energy towards. But also, if 5th house is just romance, like, not just dating. So some of you may be like, hey, I'm going to be 5th house, I'm just going to be out there playing the field, I don't want a relationship, I'm just, let's have some fun. And, fool around and fell in love. You could meet somebody in that context that could really just completely change your life and change your outlook on that. Because Pluto does rule big money, though, and I will tell you that people I know, the people from my parents' bar, and that when they hit big money, there was always some kind of Pluto aspect going on. This is something you would have to really get in a little bit closer with and find out exactly when it enters your 5th house and making aspects. But with Pluto in your 5th house, if you're a gambler, you could win some big money. Or it could just be you're gambling with life, and then you hit it big somehow. Okay, Scorpios. Pluto is your ruling planet, so again, you will feel the impact of but you are also familiar with the Pluto energy because it's been a part of your makeup since you were born. in the 4th house. So if anybody's dealing with, well, first of all, you could be moving, definitely. You could be moving, you could be doing big changes in your home, but this is also your parents, your lineage, how you were raised, the basis of your whole life and everything. So, I mean, Scorpios, you're always really deep, you're always looking into that stuff anyway, but some, even more, if you can believe it, Scorpio, even more deep than you've already gone, some big things could be coming out about you know, your parentage, your heritage, how you were raised. And it's more like these psychological things, like you could be realizing, oh, that's why that is. And if anybody's breaking these long-term karmic family line karmic things, chains, Scorpios, you are doing it. You will be doing it. And you can do it with the power of Pluto. You know how to wield that power. You know how, nobody knows how to wield the power of Pluto better than the Scorpio. So you know how it's not gonna, you can do it in a way that, yes, it may be ugly, it may be painful, it may be bringing up the underbelly of whatever it is, but then you can, the Aquarian energy too is that giving you that lightness. And the highest expression of course, of the Scorpio energy is that eagle, to fly high. The Scorpio digs down in there, and then they transmute that. It's death and rebirth, and then they fly on like the eagle. So this could really help you to soar like never before, honestly, Scorpio. Okay, so now we've got Sagittarius, and this is going to be in your 3rd house of the mind, the thinking, the thought. Your thoughts will be changed. The way you think will be changed. You could have big paradigm shifts, huge aha moments about how you think. This is also the house of siblings, so there could be some kind of big changes in that arena for some of you. Maybe your siblings will, you know, move or become parents, or something big happens in their lives, but it affects you as well. Some of you may find out you have a sibling that you never knew about. That could absolutely be a thing with this Pluto in your 3rd house. But a lot about books, learning. You may start a journey. You may start, if you're not already writing something, like even a journal, you may start writing. And there could be powerful things that are coming through in your daily journaling or your daily writing. Or even if maybe you want to start channeling, that could absolutely happen as well. So this is a powerful time to get into your mind, record these thoughts, record this process. Because I feel like there's value in it. It's not just, that way it doesn't just slip away. You don't have these insights and then they're gone, you know, and then you're in the car and it's like, what, wow, I had that great thought. What was that? You know, so it's a time to be recording, either recording on your technology, right on, you're talking into your phone, text to speech, or just, you know, recording it, writing it down or something. Reading books, you could actually get some great insights through old-fashioned reading of books, and learning different ways to communicate, different ways, better ways to communicate, you know, evolving more into communication to be more inclusive and more understanding, or have better, you know, Sagittarius usually isn't one to get in a big fight or anything unless you have the Scorpio energy. But I'm picking this up, like where before you may have gone back to that same old, we're going to have this fight, I'm going to react, you know, switch it up a little bit. And then finding new ways that are of a higher frequency, not so, you know, confrontational and a low frequency. Because this is all about raising our frequency too. All right, Capricorn, so this is going into your 2nd house. Now, I am a Capricorn sun, but I have Scorpio rising, and I remember when Pluto went into Sagittarius, and I had a huge, wonderful gift of money from the universe. So definitely big money. Pluto in the 2nd, that's the big money. Mine happened to be, you know, I won some money, you know, but it doesn't have to be like that. You could get a bonus. You could get your website could take off. Your YouTube channel could take off. Whatever this 2nd house of money, they're saying you could strike it rich. That's really what they're saying. And you could strike gold or strike it rich. Now that could just happen in a different, maybe you invest in some stock, or maybe, you know, but often it will be shift suddenly. In natal charts, often people who have some 2nd house thing, we look at rags to riches aspects. it's often the Pluto goes either transits the second or it was in there natally and got activated or something. And they looked at this, it was an article or somewhere, I read it somewhere years ago. And I think it was an article. And what they looked at lottery winners, and they looked at people who were very famous, like became, you know, famous music stars or movie stars or something, and all of a sudden, so they may have been waiting tables until they got their big break. And it always was, this is that Pluto thing. So many of you, especially, well, it's mainly going to be the Capricorn rising, but many of you, you know, that could be a factor. Now, because even if you're Capricorn sun, chances are you have planets in Aquarius, and when Pluto hits that planet, like for instance, if Pluto hits your Venus, again, that could be like huge amounts of money showing up. Huge amounts of money, changes in your finances. So if something's falling away, don't fight it. You don't want to get in a fight with Pluto, okay? You definitely don't want to get in a fight with Pluto. You want to just let Pluto help you, because Pluto can be a help. Pluto can show you things that maybe you're not seeing. Pluto can show you new ways. It's going to be a death and rebirth. So some of you, there could be people out there that maybe are losing their jobs. Their jobs are going away. That's the death, but there's always going to be the rebirth. So focus on the rebirth and know that it's a gift from the universe in reality. All right, Aquarius, here you go. This is you. It's in your first house. So you are definitely going to feel it. I was also, with me and my Scorpio rising, I do remember when Pluto went into my first house, and my life definitely changed on a lot of fronts. And these are, again, are very long-term changes. With you being in the first house, now this is your physical body. Some of you may like really do a big change in your physical body. Maybe you may lose a bunch of weight or start working out, or maybe you're going to you dye your hair or get a tattoo or get LASIK surgery or do some kind of dental, get your teeth redone. Because the first house is your physical body, but it also is your head. So it could be things like in your head, like I was talking about LASIK surgery and dental and hair and stuff like that. It's also like, you could maybe just change the whole way you dress. You maybe have always dressed in all black, and all of a sudden you can start wearing really bright colors, things like that. But your outlook on life, this is a huge cycle. Anytime anything goes over your ascendant and comes into your first house, it's always going to be some huge cycle. And again, unless you're going to live to be 300 years old or whatever, you won't see this again. So this is a life-changing thing that's going to affect you for the rest of your life. So it's pretty wild, pretty heavy. Okay, Pisces, last sign of the zodiac, last but not least. Oh, I'm moving the thing and I shouldn't be. It's going to be in your 12th house. I did make some notes on the 12th house. Let me look over here. Yeah. So you're another one where it's kind of in your natural place, because you are the natural ruler of the 12th house. So in the 12th house, this is going to just even more, if you can take it, Pisces, can you take even more enhancement of psychic, spiritual, these kind of energies? This is going to be even more amplified, transformed. You're going to be going into some deep psychological stuff should be coming up, but you're putting an end to it. Now, many of you will be alive to see it go over your ascendant in another 20 years. Probably most people watching this will be alive in another 20 years. So this is the final clearing out, the final clearing house of all the crap of cumulative over not only your soul journey, but again with the family stuff. The buck stops here. Pisces, you're going to clear it out, so then when it goes over the ascendant in 20 years, you're going to be, you have dealt with that, and you're ready for this new thing, this new cycle to begin. Big time karmic placement. Anytime we're in the 12th, we're looking at past life stuff. We're looking at things that we have tried to clear out. And even you being born at this time, I believe that we are born to have, because not everybody's going to get a transit over the ascendant. So like now it's going to be whatever. So if you're Virgo rising, chances are you're not going to live long enough to get, Pluto over the ascendant. So you chose to be born at this time when you would be experiencing this Pluto over the ascendant, and you chose that you would be doing this work of clearing out this psychological debris and all this. I'm hearing that song, and I said psychological debris, I heard cosmic debris. Zappa. Who you jiving, baby? Yeah, who you jiving with that cosmic debris? Yeah, well, I mean, but that's perfect. That's from the guides, but it's perfect. Cosmic debris, definitely, because the Uranian energy and Aquarian energy is so cosmic and everything. All right, well, it's going to be an interesting ride for everybody. It's going to be a change in energy, a shift in the energy that we're all going to feel. I mean, because Uranus is involved, it's really kind of up in the air. It's almost unpredictable because everything can and will be unpredictable. The best bet is just to go with the energy. Know that you signed up for it on a soul level. Know that you're okay no matter what kind of thing, even if there is this second, what great awakening coming, you know, even if that's the case. Just ride it through, you know, keep calm and carry on, because things are about to get crazy, a little crazy maybe, but we all signed up for it on a soul level. We're all part of it, and it's going to only unite us as humanity and unite us as a soul tribe. So overall, hopefully really good. If you enjoyed this content, please do hit the like and subscribe button in the corner, and I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for watching. Till next time.